I have a crazy theory about Tim I just have to share. Now, I want to start this by saying this is just total crazy nonsense, okay? This is based off of information that was passed on to me. I mean, I cannot verify the validity of this rumor, and that's what it is. It's just a rumor. It's purely speculation, and just, again, it's crazy nonsense. But here, check it out. So I was told this statement, and so I came up with a scenario had this statement been true. I'm not even sure about the timeline of some of this stuff, but again, just bear with. All right, let's get started. Okay, we know that Tim and Tammy were in an adulterous relationship. Tammy, even though separated, was married in the eyes of God. Hear that, Tim? Do you hear that? And Tim was a broke dick mooch. It's no secret that Tim records so often he needs things to yak about. Tim talks about everything and anything. He is very well known for oversharing. Everyone knows his life story, work history, or lack thereof, and even his finances. There is one thing we do not know. Tim and Tammy split up. Did Motormouth ever give a detailed reason like he does with everything else? I mean, hell, Tim even tells other people's business, not only just his own. Because of Tim, we know how Teddy and Jolene met, how long they were together, their address, and I mean, we know everything about these folks, thanks to Tim. Just the other day, I was watching one of his videos. He was talking about some people that he just met. He told us their names, where they live now, where they moved from, how long they lived there before, and I mean, come on. But did we ever hear why Tim and Tammy parted ways? Did we? Now, I'm not going back and looking at videos for the order of events, okay? It's desperate talkative Tim. I'm not sifting through his 10 videos a day of ramblings to find this stuff. So I would need far too much medication for that. This is where you guys can help me out. Comment below if I am off with the timeline or anything like that, because I'm going off memory here, folks. So we see our adulterous duo looking at, arguing about, and buying Tim's escape trailer. Shortly after, we see Tim with the now famous Flagstaff. He is giving us a tour of it out in the Walmart parking lot, over and over and over again. And then we see he's parked along the street with the steps out on the sidewalk that really pissed me off. And we get another tour, like we haven't seen it 5 times already. Now, after several parking lots and tours later, we have not seen Tammy anywhere. Tim then heads to become the leech of Boynton Beach. We have the whole Flagstaff issue, and it goes somewhere. Then the bushwhacker comes into existence, and he is obsessing over Jolene. So now we have Tim separated from Tammy and away from that immediate area. Tim then is negligent and leaves his handgun in his door pocket in his unlocked vehicle. His handgun is then stolen. He makes a video and he documents the whole thing and tells us all about it. We then have the whole eye ordeal and the doctor visits. Tim wants desperately to leave. He has to push his departure back due to his doctor and the visits and the checkups and the follow-ups. And then Tim finally does get to leave. Keep in mind, all this time his Glock is in the possession of someone else. And the thief's hands are all over it. Tim is now across the country. He is far away from Florida. He has to return for an eye appointment. Now, while Tim's away, he is informed that they found his Glock, and he can actually go pick it up. Tim doesn't seem like he's in all that big of a hurry to retrieve the Glock that he speaks so highly of, and he just adores this little thing. He casually says he will get it when he goes back. Even upon Tim's return, there doesn't seem to be much urgency in picking up his firearm, right? As previously stated, Motormouth talks about everything at length and often repeatedly. He made sure everyone knew his firearm was stolen, but barely made mention of its return. So now Sarasota Tim, dressed in a new costume and is now known as a Cowboy Tim, goes back to Florida to suck the remaining life from Teddy and Jolene. He sells a teardrop and a bunch of his other shit, hooks up to Flagstaff, and sets off on his less than epic, lackluster journey of rest areas and truck stops. Tim then begins to speak often about wanting some sweet thing to get some sugar. He even talks about the Philippines and getting a bride from there. He doesn't mention Tammy, wanting Tammy, trying to work things out, going to look for Tammy, talking to Tammy. She's really not in the conversation at all anymore, right? Poof, gone. Now let's move on to where Tammy's now deceased husband's estate is settled. Tammy gets everything, and Tim can't stop talking about his love. When his love arrives to rekindle things and possibly work things out, a trial run to see if we can find a place, and this is important, not in Florida. That's right. He wants to work it out. Tammy's back in the picture all of a sudden, and we need to find a place not in Florida. Forget your family, forget your kids, your grandkid, not in Florida. Tim's reasonings for not wanting to be in Florida is the heat during the summer, right? Isn't that what he said? Well, where's Tim at? He is in places that are far, far hotter than Florida. The last I remember, and I don't know about you, but where I went to school, they taught me that 115 degrees is a lot more than 98 degrees. So could there be another reason Tim wants to distance himself from Florida? Okay, I've been babbling on. What's the point? Okay, here it is. Here's the rumor, and it's just a rumor. It has been reported that Tammy's husband was pulling a stump with the truck. We know that part, right? Something happened, and he was run over by his own truck. Now, okay, this is how he became deceased. Here's the rumor part. It was also reported that a neighbor said that they heard a gunshot right before the incident happened. Now, again, this is pure unsubstantiated rumor. It's just chatter. Even if true, it could have been a chain snapping or something like that made a big crack or pop or whatever. And also there would be a bullet wound, wouldn't there? So that would have been on the report somewhere, and someone would have been speaking about that. Unless someone fired a shot, startled the guy, he had a heart attack, fell down, and then got ran over. That's a possibility. So now this is where I need you guys to help me with the timeline. Okay, so let's recap. We have an adulterous affair, a stolen Glock, a deceased husband, a rumored hurt gunshot, and a guy fleeing Florida and does not, under any circumstances, want to return. I'm going to be clear. I'm going to reiterate. I want to be clear. This is based on some rumor and speculation. I am not stating this as fact. I am saying this would make a very interesting murder mystery, novel, or movie, wouldn't it? Just think about it. He was a broke dick that hated work. He took advantage of a global pandemic and got free money. He retired at 62 with nothing but his camper and a phone. He rose to YouTube fame spreading nonsense and bullshit. He spent only other people's money, leaving no trace of his movements other than his endless YouTube videos. She was his love and cash cow. Their adulterous relationship ended abruptly without warning. The adulteress finds herself alone after the unexpected sudden death of her husband. Will the widow and the broke dick reunite? Will the two travel the country, changing costumes every few months, never to return to Florida? Will his oblivious community fund his fugitive travels? Will he give himself away by his ramblings on the internet? See? Wouldn't that make a good movie?
This is BlindViews, and that's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.